Yeah, having done all, stand. Part 3. And back in Romans 21, you know, this is a commentary on the fall, on man and what he's done. And let me give you that verse. Because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God. Now remember the verse before, because he's told them that he's made himself plainly known, plainly seen. I mean, it's evident. I mean, do you ever just think about that? I mean, we live in a creation. Where the heck did that come from? And oceans and birds and whales. Well, ask Darwin, and we come from a blob. Well, who made the blob? You know, I got to keep asking, well, who made that? Well, who made that? Well, who made God then? Well, that's where your pea brain loses it. Nobody made him. But when they knew God, they glorified him not as God. Neither were thankful. Now, do you get a hold of that? So what changed in man? They didn't glorify God, and they became what? Unthankful. They become unthankful. Look, do you ever look in the world today and see? Well, I mean, we'll use words like ungrateful. But isn't that what exactly we have? So when I set up another God, one of the major clues that I can see here is the result will be they became unthankful. I mean, it says it right here. Neither were they thankful, but became vain or futile in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. I mean, that's one of the first things to go is Thanksgiving, isn't it? Thanksgiving. You forget to be thankful. What happened to Israel when they were in the land? They were coming out of Egypt. They're out. They're in the wilderness. Were they thankful? No, all they did was complain. Give us a captain. Let us go back. We loathe this manna. They become futile. You know what they did? They went around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. It's been 40 years going around the mountain when she goes. We worship the God revealed in Jesus Christ. And guys, do you know how little people know of Jesus Christ? And he's evident. He's right there, but people have the blinders on. I mean, Jesus is sitting there saying, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And I just got to say, how many tornadoes did Jesus send down on people? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying here? If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. He went about doing good, healing all that were oppressed of the devil. I mean, do you get a hold of that? I mean, you know, we read these stories. Oh, yeah, well, look, you know. As it, now, and I guess, you know, I come out a whole lot of predestination, and, you know, God really didn't die for everybody, just died for a few. Do you realize when he healed that Syrophoenician woman? Do you know what controversy that caused? I mean, you just read it off. Syrophoenician woman comes, her daughter's sick, and Jesus heals them. I mean, they didn't even want these people to get near Jesus. These are daggone Gentiles. Salvation's for us. This is our Messiah, not yours. You go back over yonder where you come from. This is ours. And she comes with this tale. You know, even the dogs get the crumbs from the table. She gets compared with people of great faith. Just like the Roman centurion. Great faith. I haven't found this kind of faith in all Israel. These kind of things made people mad. Because he's not supposed to be that way. So what happens? They became futile. What's it say? They're in their vain imaginations. They couldn't imagine this. So how, now listen, I'm telling you the result is they became unthankful. How could you be, well, you could get the Pharisee mindset, and here's how you become thankful. I thank God I ain't like y'all. I thank God I ain't like the Syrophoenician woman. Surely she's sick because of God's judgment upon her daughter. Or so, you know what I mean? So what happened? They become unthankful. Or their thankfulness becomes full of pride and arrogance. Isn't that a mess? Now, when you become unthankful and futile and vain in your imaginations, you invent God. That's what it says they did. They invented God. So what kind of God do they have? I mean, if you watch TV right now, you got God just ready to bust folks up, right? Did you know God's a Republican? I mean, watch TV and you'll find out he's a Republican. In the 60s, he was Democrat. He's a turncoat. Right? Yeah. I know, you know, we laugh and we think that's crazy, but you realize people believe that. He's a registered Republican. And he'll be mail-in ballot voting. But we've invented God. And mostly the God that's invented is mean, cruel, and vindictive. I mean, here's something. And we kid around about this, but you ever say something, people go, better back up, lightning might strike. Now, where's this lightning going to come from? It's going to come right out of the Bible. God is going to strike you dead with lightning, right? And we laugh about it, but that's the God that we have. Now, if God's going to strike you with lightning, how can I be thankful to Him? How could I really praise and worship and remember that verse I told you up here, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. How can I be in liberty with a God who I think is going to, right in the middle of a praise service, we're doing a song, and all of a sudden Denise's microphone dies and battery goes bad, and God says, that was a great song, but Denise, you should have changed your batteries. Lightning. Pow! You see? But we get these crazy ideas. I've seen somebody put this out there, and I won't mention any names, but somebody said, you know, America, God bless America, was founded on biblical principles. And people may say, yeah. Remember, we're talking about delivering us from this present evil world. Well, let me tell you something. I don't care what America was founded on. I could care less. What I do care about is the Church of Jesus Christ is founded upon the rock. And that rock is the revelation of Jesus Christ. Don't give me principles. I want the rock. Do you understand where I'm coming from? You can talk principles all you want. That's the reason you can talk hope all you want. Ours is a person, the living hope. Jesus Christ in person. And the church is founded upon the chief cornerstone, and the capstone is Jesus. All other countries can have their biblical principles all they want. Do you see what I'm talking about here? We're over against that. Don't think for a moment that America is a Christian nation. Don't you dare think it for a moment. We live in a present evil world, which includes every nation other than one, and that's the nation of Israel, of which you are. I ain't talking about Israel over there. I'm talking about those that are of faith. Abraham's seed. Those that are born of that seed. They're founded upon the rock. Now, I know that sounds contrary. I live here. I'm a veteran. Still love this country. Love the freedom so far it provides, that we could come out here and meet out. That might all be taken away. But you know what? They can burn every building down. They can tear every statue down and never once touch the church. People don't know that. They think they burn a church down. They can't burn a church down. They can burn every building down. They can tear every statue down. I could care less. I'm just going to be honest with you. I could care less. I know Jesus ain't blonde hair and blue eye. You know, I was telling a guy this morning, I said, and I'm just talking here a little bit to you. You know, Hezekiah rose up and he tore the idols down. Right? Because Israel would sin. They would build the groves. They would build up the idols again. Well, you know what happened when Israel wouldn't tear the idols down? God would send in King Cyrus or King of Babylon or something, and he would come in and tear down. You know, he's giving Israel the choice. Either you take them down, or I'm going to send them in to take it down, and theirs is going to hurt a lot worse than what mine is. So you know what, guys? I don't care if they tear them all down. I know, I have seen where a bunch of churches are going to rise up and they're going to start fighting. They're going to fight back. They're not going to tear our statue of Jesus down. You know, here's one of the things, I hate to quote this, but what do you think Jesus would do? If he came in and you think he would say, man, that's a great statue of me and Mary right there. Wow. Beautiful. Do you know Jesus really, according to scriptures, was not very handsome to look at? I mean, you know, it's like Samson wasn't a bodybuilder. Jesus wasn't very handsome to look at. And if God would have wanted us to know what his natural face looked like, he would have told us. I always think of these things. You know, if God wanted us to know what day Christmas was on, I'm just saying. Because there are times when he said on the 3rd day of the 4th month in the year of King, in the 7th year, that's a pretty specific date. Well, Jesus was just born in a manger. What day? Well, that's irrelevant. You understand what we do with all these things? What messes we make? Yeah. And these fine big buildings. Do you ever read these prophets? I mean, it's like, I forget which prophet it is, but he's like, you guys are coming out here and building all this stuff, but the money in your pocket's got holes in them. Your pocket's got holes in them, and you wonder why? In other words, everything you're doing is futile. It's vain. Okay? You know, and I'm telling you this stuff, guys, because there ain't a whole lot of us. But you know what? We're not picking sides. We're not of that. It's evil versus evil. I mean, that's really what it is. It's evil versus evil. And I really don't care if they tear them all down. I don't care if they leave them up. I don't care if they tear them down. It's irrelevant to me. We're built upon the rock. We have nothing to do with that. I'm just telling you honest, we have nothing to do with that. And I know it's like, well you got to make a stand. Where do we stand? On the rock. I mean, you know that song, I am standing on the rock, a firm foundation. Have you done all stand? That's where we are. I mean, there is let me go over there. I believe it's Habakkuk, another verse, and I'm just throwing these out there. Is Habakkuk in the Bible? Yeah, he's in there somewhere. I believe it's Habakkuk.
It's Habakkuk somewhere.
Yeah, look at this. Habakkuk chapter 3. Verse 17, although the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in the vines, the labor of the olive shall fail, the fields shall yield no meat, the flock shall be cut off from the fold, there shall be no herd in the stalls. I'm talking, this is bad, ain't it? Yet will I rejoice in the Lord. Do you see the difference here? What was the thing a minute ago? They wasn't thankful. Now here's Habakkuk, the just shall live by faith. I believe that's him, ain't it? No, that's Haggai. Anyway, one of them Hay dudes. Do you understand? Yet will I rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. He said, it doesn't matter what. I mean, everything around me could fall and crumble, and starving and famines and everything going on. Yet will I rejoice in the God of my salvation. That can only be said when you really know who He is. Otherwise, it's just words on the paper. And it's somebody out here trying to pump you up, saying, well, you got to rejoice, you got to rejoice. No, you don't have to do nothing. Rejoice is an overspill. You understand? It's an overspill because He's so great, He's so awesome. You know, they're trying to get your attention. Look, they just tore down a statue. I don't care. I've set my eyes upon Him who is my salvation. Do you get what I'm saying? So then the rest of it becomes irrelevant. I lift up mine eyes, you know, Old Testament poetry. I lift up mine eyes into the hills. I wonder who the hills is. We're talking about Mount Zion Himself, Jesus Christ. I'm going to lift up my eyes unto Him. And just because of His glory, I mean, Isaiah got a little hint of that. Isaiah, you remember how it started out? In the year King Uzziah died, in the year of death and destruction, he saw something that changed the whole course of his life, changed the course of Israel's life. What did he see? He saw heaven open. He looked right into that realm and saw the Lord Jesus Christ in His glory. The angels singing their song. You know, I heard them say, and, you know, I'm just throwing this out there a little bit. I heard them say they want to change the national anthem now, the Star Spangled Banner. It's time for a change. I said, ain't it good? You know, in Israel, it was a time to change the song. They used to sing a song of they ain't going to change the song that we sing. We sing a song called Holy, Holy, Holy. Holy is the Lord God Almighty. See, they don't know that song, so they're talking about all this. I guess they're going to get P. Diddy to do the national anthem. You know, I can just hear them all now. When you get up there to, you know, crazy stuff. I know it's crazy stuff. But I just thought, ain't you glad that we don't have anything in that? Our song is not the Star Spangled Banner. I sing it. I stand at attention when it's played. I get chills over it. But it doesn't compare to Holy, Holy, Holy. Do you see the difference? Which song do you want? I believe I'll take the Holy, Holy, Holy. I will rejoice in the Lord God of my salvation. I believe I'll choose that song. No gratitude. They become unthankful. And when they become unthankful, the result is they became futile, vain in their speculations, in their imaginations. Do you know what a speculation is? I speculate. Do you know where that word comes from? It's a Greek word, but just like these, you know what I would call these for short? Specs. Give me my spectacles. In other words, my view, what I'm seeing. So they become vain in their speculation. So in other words, what is their view? Their view is useless. They're not looking at anything. And let me tell you something. If you're sitting in great darkness, how can you see anything? You're in the dark. We watched this movie the other day called The Reliant. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a Christian movie. Kevin Sorbo plays it, if you guys know who he is. I think he was the professor in God's Not Dead. Was that right? Yeah, he was one. Yeah. So, but he's a Christian guy. It's a Christian movie, and what happens is they have to go out. They get killed, and so the kids have to go out into the woods and survive, and bad people are hunting for them. And as a matter of fact, one of the guys who gets saved in the movie is Brian Bosworth. Any of you old football fans know the Boss, who went up against Bo Jackson from Oklahoma. He was an old Sooner, big, mean linebacker. Well, he plays in the movie too. But anyway, one of the kids is on guard, so the bad guy breaks in and steals a bunch of their stuff. And I thought it funny. I don't know if you pick up on anything like that. It says, you was on guard, why didn't you watch? And they said, there was no moon out. There was no moon out, so I couldn't see it. You know, sometimes I come home, man, and right back over yonder, the big old full moon will be out, and it's like, wow. And then sometimes when it's cloudy and there ain't no moon, it's like, wow, you can't see nothing. And so Israel was a little bit of light. All right, they were the moon, a reflection of the light. But you know, when their glory, which isn't a glory at all back over there, when the other glory, I mean, think how much different it is when the sun came, when the sun came, and it says great light has come to them who sat in darkness in the region of death. Great light has came. But these people, because of their vain imaginations, their vain, futile speculations, because they become unthankful, they're sitting in great darkness. And you know what? You can come and tell people all about everything that you have seen and heard and everything, but they can't get it until when? Until the sun comes up. They can't have any idea what you're talking about until the day star arrives in their heart and they begin to see it. What did he tell Paul? Paul, go open blind eyes and turn them from the power of darkness. You know? There's a lot more going on around us, guys, than what you realize. This is a big deal. Okay? It's a big deal. I want you to know that. There are times in history when great liberty can come or great bondage can come. There's times, I'm telling you, there are times. And I think we're on one of those times. You know, the church will be okay, but where do we go? Let me keep going. How could you be thankful for a God who you think is out to kill you all the time? How would you be thankful? I mean, you'd be living in this fear. Or a God who is in a constant mindset of disgust, right? He's disgusted with everybody. You know, I love this verse in Ephesians. You know, we quote it all the time, but now think about this. Ephesians 1:19. What is the exceeding greatness of His power towards us, to usward who believe, according to the working of His mighty power, which He wrought in Christ when He raised Him from the dead. So what does that mean is coming towards us? God's disgust? What, I mean, if you look at that verse, what is coming toward us? The exceeding greatness of His power to usward who believe. So what's coming towards us? And He compares that, the same power that raised Jesus from the dead, resurrection life power, is what is coming to you. But yet, what have we done with that power? What have we done? We've said, lightning's going to strike. You said something wrong, lightning's going to strike. Oh my God, lightning's going to strike. Because we have no idea. We have no idea. He delivers us. He has delivered us from this present evil world, this present evil age. That's what Colossians was talking about. We've been translated out of the kingdom of darkness, out of the dominion. Do you know what that is? Dominion. The domain. You know, we would say, well, that's the lion's domain. That means he's the king there. Anybody else that's in there knows they answer to him. So here you have Satan and his domain. And we've been translated, delivered, rescued out of that into the kingdom of his dear Son. You know, that verse. Let me go get this verse here in Galatians again. We went over this verse. On Wednesday a little bit. Galatians 4:9. But now, after that ye have known God, or rather have known of God, how turn ye again to the weak and beggarly elements? Do you desire again to be in bondage? How could you go back? You've been delivered from that. Why would you go back? So what happens here, you have the rule of oppression, right? I mean, that's what it is, the rule of oppression. It's a futile existence going around in circles, around and around and around, no direction. I mean, you ever feel like that? You've been driving somewhere and you can't get nowhere and you're just like, oh, I've been here before, I'm just going around in a circle. I'm lost. What happens is you become lost to the real purpose and meaning of life. I'm telling you, it's futile. It's just a series of a bunch of dead ends. Dead end here, dead end there. And out of this, now you hear me, hear what I'm talking about. Out of this series of dead endness comes a word out, and it's brought into the meaning of darkness. And you know what this word is? Boredom. You ever heard that word? Oh, it's a pretty common word, especially among young people. I'm bored. Why do you think we sit there and we have all these gadgets? Because we're so bored. I got to have something to fill my, I've become unthankful. I don't know God, so I'm bored. So what is our whole country built on? It's built on entertainment. Why would I need entertainment? Because I'm bored. Oh, do you remember growing up in this area? Well, maybe I didn't grow up in this area, but the kids still now got the same thing. Oh, it's boring around here. There's nothing to do. You ever heard that? There's nothing to do around here. So go to a city. And you know what those people say? Man, there's nothing around here. So what happens? There's speculations. Their imaginations have become futile. So their whole life has become a series of boredom. Now you listen to what I'm telling you right here. I'm bored. I don't really know why I'm here. I have no purpose. I'm bored. I need somebody to entertain me. You know, a lot of people get married that way. I'm bored. My life's going nowhere. I need somebody that's going to love me. And the churches are just as guilty, People go to church. Why do half the people go to church? Because they got a good band. They go there, they get entertained. Lots of churches put on a show. You know what I mean? And it's easy to get caught up into that. Oh, we got to have a show. We got to have something that sparkle and glitter and to pull people in. And then once they get in, we got to do something to keep them entertained. Or they might leave because that church down there has got a better entertainment than what we have. So they might go down there and entertain me. It's pitiful, isn't it? Church is just as guilty. What have we done? We've let that stuff seep in. I mean, if the glory of Jesus Christ isn't enough to draw you and to keep you, you understand what I mean? So we get words that come up out of this. Now you think about this. Now here we are just normal people, and we're living in this boredom of life. So we get up and we go to work our job, which really has no meaning other than pay my house payment and buy some groceries so that I can get strength to go to work, so that I can pay the house payment, buy some more groceries so that I can get the strength to go to work, so I can get a paycheck so I can pay the house payment, buy some groceries so that I can go to work. Futile. So now, in the middle of that, I got to come up with words. Hump day. God, I hate to go to work. Oh, it's Wednesday. I'm halfway through this God-forsaken job. And then what happens on Friday? Thank God it's Friday. Now I can go and live my life, this drudgery that I was in. This job has no meaning, no purpose, and thank God now I can go to the lake and live. This is what God called me for. Water skiing, Dollywood. I can work for 17 months in a row and save every penny and starve to death so I can go down there and have 4 tickets to Dollywood. Because that's about what it's going to cost you. Last time I went down there, I was so thirsty. It was 188 degrees. I said, man, I want that big drink, $22. I think I'm going to go over there and get the Eagles thing and drink out of that creek going down through there. Good Lord. But you get to refill that cup all day long. But you got to carry it around everywhere you go. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Entertain me. I'll pay any amount of money to be entertained. In all of that, man has been deceived. And this is very, 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 very important. And the reason I say this, you don't have to be this to be a human. Always deceived, always bored, always no meaning. Slave to sin. That's not the meaning of life. Jesus come to rescue us from that. Do you understand? He come to rescue us from that. I don't know if people put these two together. People live in all kinds of little different worlds, but I told you there's only two. There's this present evil age and the kingdom of his dear son. That's it. I don't care where you work, where you don't work, whatever. That's it. Now this sin that came in, man was deceived, but he was guilty. He was guilty. He made that choice, didn't he? Man chose the darkness. So this darkness is not only a deception, it's a choice. So we aren't pathetic. We're guilty. Do you get a hold of that? God made us in his image and after his likeness. He didn't make us pathetic, stupid. So if we're not pathetic, stupid, then we're guilty. That's the reason blood had to be shed. It's guilty. That's the reason it wasn't Jesus came down here to educate. He did. But blood had to be shed because somebody was guilty. And we were guilty. But you know what? Nowadays, nobody's guilty. Right? We become unthankful. And then what else happens? It's always your fault. Isn't that where we live at today? It's not my fault. It's your fault. I'm oppressed because of you. But we talked about this a little bit. I'm going to talk to you about some more. This evil, it concentrates. It nests. It nests. You know what I'm talking about? Nest. Evil lays claim to groups of people. Do you realize that? It'll lay claim on groups of people, races of people. And those people will express a certain evil through their race, through their group. And let me put it to you this way. The evil that is expressed through the United States as a group is not the same evil that's expressed through Iran. But yet it's evil. It's not the same evil that's expressed through China, but yet it's evil. And when you're aware of this, really aware of it, because I'm telling you the truth, you can feel it. You can feel it. When you go to certain cities, go to certain countries. I mean, what would you think? We got a city in the United States that we brag about. It's in commercials. It's called Sin City. And do you realize that people from all over the world flock to go there? They don't flock to go to Cedar Bluff. They flock to go to Sin City because anything in Vegas stays in Vegas. All your fantasies can come true. Am I telling you the truth? Right here in the United States, Sin City. Builded and founded with the mafia. How about New York City? You guys ever go there? You know, I've never been to New York City, but I've been to Chicago. I've been to LA. I've walked those streets, and trust me, there's a different kind of evil there. There's a different evil that is expressed in LA than is in Chicago or in Detroit. Because I've left Chicago in one kind of evil and drove to Detroit, right downtown in a Ford building, and there's another kind of evil there. You can feel it. Am I right? You can feel it. Now, when I left LA in Hollywood, right there, Sunset Boulevard, and we drove straight down Highway 6, I believe, and it runs straight into Tijuana. There's another evil there. The same evil. There's a different evil in Gary, Indiana. But it's there. There's a different evil here in Richlands that is in Bluefield. But it's still the same. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And once you become aware of this, and you begin to feel this, you begin to see what we're up against here. There was a guy that said, he's traveled all over the world, it's Malcolm Smith. He said the most evil city he believed he was ever in his life was Rio de Janeiro. And see, Baal is this god of sex and all this other stuff. And he said when he was in Rio on the beach side, it's exaggerating. I looked it up. Wow. They don't advise you to take a trip there because of the sin, the muggings, the robberies, the beatings. It goes unchecked. Then he said he left there and he went through the mountains through a tunnel. When he come on the other side, it was the financial district. He said a completely different kind of evil called greed. And it was there. Greed, such greed. Guys, that's what I'm telling you. There, in LA, there was such a arrogance out there with movie stars and cars and the way it was so arrogant. So, I mean, you could feel the arrogance of people. It was atrocious. Now, Chicago wasn't that way. Chicago had a different kind of evil. They weren't arrogant. They were just, it was different. I won't tell you what they were, but it was different. I looked up the worst cities to live in. I don't know how current this was, but St. Louis. St. Louis. Detroit, number 2. Baltimore, number 3. Memphis, number 4. Worst cities. Evil. There's certain states that have a uniqueness of evil. You know? I'm just telling you, I'm just throwing these current events to you guys so you know what I'm talking about. You know, the NASCAR come out with no more rebel flags. Okay, you know what happened in Talladega last week? Here's some dude in a plane flying over Talladega Speedway with a rebel flag. Now you might think that's nothing. But let me tell you something. You'll never see that in Vegas. You won't see that at tracks in California. Why? Because Alabama expresses their evil differently than the people will in Las Vegas. Right? Still expressions of evil. Do you see what I mean here? Corporations do the same thing. And you get drawn into a corporation, and you know, I've seen people come work on the railroad. I can speak more of this than any others, but I do know other corporations because we deal with a lot. And you can get sucked into that giant vacuum And I know I did because I wanted to be promoted. I wanted to move up the, what we call it, the corporate ladder. So you get sucked in by it, and you're drawn by the sucking power that controls the corporation. Remember, we're in the world, not of the world. And we're living the life of Christ in that world, working in those corporations. So it's not just a job. This is what I'm saying. You have come. He said, go into the world, be the light of the world. So you go into that corporation that you work for, and you're the light there. You have a responsibility there. So it's not a dead-end job. It's not a, oh, thank God it's Friday. God put you there as salt of the earth to be light there. Why? Because He cares for those people there. These people that are set in darkness, great light has come. And guess what? You are that light. Christ in you is that light, and He's put you there. But yet, what do? It's a dead-end job. It's hump day. Thank God it's Friday. You don't realize you're on assignment here. Right? The church has lost its purpose. You remember when we were going on Wednesday? I mean, that's what happened to Laodicea. Laodicean church lost its purpose. You're lukewarm. I'll spew you out. He wasn't talking about salvation. It's, guys, you're not living your purpose. Church in Ephesus, I'll take your candlestick away. Why is this God taking their salvation? No, they've become useless in their purpose. Your purpose is to bring light, to bring love to these people. You're put on display to be the salt. The church now has become useless. We're not. Do you understand what I'm talking about now? Now you think about these corporations. Some of them are dadgone monsters. Monsters. I mean, I thought Norfolk Southern was big. 30,000 employees. That's huge. There's some monsters out there. You ever look how big Microsoft is? And then how about Amazon? Good Lord. Global. I'm talking monster. And you know what a monster does? It just devours anybody else that comes along, don't it? Microsoft got so big, that's why you ain't got but about 2 operating systems on a computer. Because any other operating system that come up, the monster of Microsoft, eat them up. Spit them out, and there was nothing left. Railroads do it. You ain't going to start another railroad. They'll come in and squash you. You ever heard the term being railroaded? I got railroaded. Where do you think that come from? Because they took what they wanted. We're coming through your property and we're taking it. For the good of the country. We don't care if you like it or not. And if you're really climbing this corporate ladder, you're being sucked in more and more and more and more. You begin to think like they think. I remember going to this big meeting up in Chicago one time, and this big vice president came up there. And we were standing around, and we were working to the bone 16, 18 hours a day. And then going home and taking 5 to 6 calls a night, sleeping on 1 or 2 hours. We're worn out. And we started to make our complaints. We need help. We need more people. He looked at us and laughed. He said, let me tell you guys, and this is all supervisors, we're all corporate people. He looked at us and laughed, and he said, let me tell y'all something. We're in the business of making money. We ain't in the business of employment. And if firing y'all today would save this company money, I'd get rid of every one of you. Next question. So there it was. Plain and simple. We're here to make money. We're here to make money. And you get in the way of my corporate greed, go away. I'm here to make money. Joe works for, I don't know who you work for, Joe, but I guarantee you they're there to make money. Now I understand you got to make money. I understand if you want to stay in business. But what is the number one dominating factor of all these places? Making money. We don't care who we crush, who we enslave. This company's all around the world. I mean, do you realize that they call us the great evil empire? You ever wonder, you would think around the world that we would be loved. We're hated. Why? I I mean, why? Look, roll back the clock 100 years, the Muslim people didn't hate us. Why did they just start hating us? You think it's a little thing called oil? You think it's a little thing that we're just mean, greedy people, and we do everything we can to take from everybody that's around? I'm just talking to us here. Do you realize that most of the clothes you wear is made in some sweatshop by children overseas? So here you are, Mom and Dad, and your 6-year-olds down there making T-shirts that are sold to these rich, arrogant Americans. Where's your Nike tennis shoes made at? Texas? Go look again. Now you think, well, no. Go to the store and try to buy American made. You might find about 8 products. Now why are they're made overseas by slave labor. I'm telling you the truth. Now we don't want to think about it. We don't want to look at it. But I'm telling you the truth. But it's a nice shirt. And I really like it. And it cost me $20. Made by a 6-year-old in Indonesia. Working 18 hours a day. Living on $6 a month. Do you ever think about that? We don't want to think about it, you know what? Because we want to be an ostrich and put our head in the sand and don't really want to think about what's really going on around the world. We call evil good, good evil, but let's just don't call it anything. Let's just thank God it's Friday. You know? And then, you know, in the middle of these corporations, I'm just talking to you about stuff, common stuff here. In the middle of these corporations, and they're greed and they're greed and they're greed, what happens? I mean, this is why we got unions that rose up, because back in the day, they were slave labor in the coal mines, and they're slave labor in auto workers, and slave labor in the rail industry. So what happens? People rose up and says, we're not going to take it anymore, and we're going to get unions to counteract this. Well, guess where our union has their annual conference? Vegas. Why is that? I mean, they don't meet in Birmingham. I mean, why don't they meet in Charlotte? Why do they got to fly from New York to Vegas every year on my dime? And plus, if you want to talk about the Teamsters, they had a guy named Jimmy Hoffa. Now, unions started out good. They were started out to fall. But what has happened to them? Our unions become useless. They got sucked right into the corporate greed too. So now we pay $110, $120 a month for nothing. So that I can fund the Democratic National Convention and send our representatives to Vegas. What about universities? Your great colleges, what are they teaching? Yeah, oh gosh. Now here these people go. But yet we keep sending our kids. Now you think on this stuff long and hard. We keep sending our kids to these universities so that they can become indoctrinated more and more and more and more. Go look on the street. These ain't old people on the streets. Very few of them. These are young people, college people leading the way. Where did they learn this stupid stuff? You know. They learned it at universities. Universities where they got indoctrinated all over the place. Futile. And if you think that's bad, let me bring another one on home to you. What about your own kids? You realize there's no thing in here for public school? In this Bible, it ain't supposed to be public school. You're supposed to teach your kids. You train your children as you would have them to go, and they'll not depart from it in the days of old. It doesn't say Tazewell County Public Schools to train your kids. You are, but we've shucked off responsibility because we got sucked into the corporate world, and we need more and more and more and more. I mean, how can I live without a $200 cell phone bill and cable bill and internet bill and 4 cars and 3 TV? I ain't got time to train my kids. Somebody else train my kid, and I will sit back and complain about it. Because your teachers at your public school, where did they learn? Universities. Do you see the infiltration of evil everywhere? I want to wake you up to it. Seminaries full of it. Seminaries that started out with good Christian leadership, Holy Spirit-filled people who started seminaries, and now they become nests of evil. You're supposed to be teaching the people. They're actually corrupting the people. You know, I got an email the other day. In Henry, you know, they want to change. They want to change their. They don't want to be the WASP anymore. It's offensive. They're bringing in all these BLMs to. They want to change the names of the buildings. They want to take the statues down. All of this other. It's everywhere. A college that was founded in 1780. Patrick Henry. Take it down. Well, you know, you live right down there. Crazy. Kindler, gentler. They're just expressions of evil. I'm telling you. It's all being done and parents are blind to it. Your children are being separated from you by law. They made a law that says, I'm taking your kids and I'm training them. Right? We're talking about prayer in school. Should have never been. Should have never been. You say, well, we got to get prayer back in school. No. Mamas and daddies need to step back up. Because they made a law that says, I'm taking your babies away from you and I'm going to train them. Do you realize that's what happened? I mean, you understand what happened here. I don't know if you've seen this before. But they made a law that says, I'm separate. What is evil? What is death? I'm taking your kids away from you for 9 to 10 hours a day, and I will completely indoctrinate them and then give them homework to do on top of that. You'll get 30 or 40 minutes with them. I'm going to indoctrinate. I'm going to teach them. And why would I want to be teaching them? Because I want them to know what I know. I want them to be raised up in my way. I mean, doesn't the Bible say you train up your children as you'd have them go? It doesn't say the public schools. Well, these people that homeschool, they lose public skills. Well, I would rather have them homeschooled, especially knowing what I know now. Because it's cotton-picking evil. If you don't believe it, just wait. It's evil and it manifests. And here's what you got. What we've got, I seen a thing the other day, and they looked, I don't know who posted it on Facebook, and they said, well, I guess we can see that those timeouts didn't work. You know, changing, you know, we didn't have timeouts when I grew up. You got a butt busted. But you understand, we've got sucked in by evil, sucked in by the corporations. Now we don't have time, so now we got to put it off, and now we've lost where we are. Your children go to these schools and they learn things that's not true. They don't know the ideal of a personal God who loves them. Religions, denominations become centers and nests of evil. I heard this one guy, they went to the big conference, and you know, they have these huge conferences. And when they come back, he reported back to the church, and he says, you know, we voted. They voted, and I have to declare to you, we voted that Jesus Christ is the Son of God for another year. They had a vote on it. And I know you think it's crazy. One of the biggest denominations in the world, right here in the United States. They vote on it as Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And I'm going to tell you this, guys. I fought hard to keep a lot of that stuff out of here. I really have. You don't know it, but I have. Because I don't want to bring anything of any corporation in here. You know what we are, guys? We're a family. We are the body of Jesus Christ. And we're led by our head, who is Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit. So, that's how we roll. That's how we function. Pray. We're led of the Lord, and we do it that we don't need to model our church after some corporation, after some government. God forbid, keep that junk out. It's like rats in the bread. I mean, you guys ever really been to a city and seen the slums? The ghetto? You know, my man Elvis' son, the little baby child is born in the ghetto, and his mama cries. You ever hear that song? Not rejoices, Not Jesus was born and angels singing and celebrating on high, and a mama cries. Why do you think the majority of abortion clinics are in black neighborhoods near the ghetto? You ever think on that? The majority of abortion clinics are in the ghetto. They talk about population control. Why are they there? Because we want to control these people. So who's doing it? So you go into the slums and the ghettos and you see the drugs and the muggings and the people living like this and people on the street and messing on the street, and it's nasty. Well, who's controlling that? Well, you got the slumlords who owns all the buildings. You got the mafia right there in the middle of it, keeping the people on the drugs, keeping them in oppression. And now, here's what I wanted to tell you. Now you see who's behind that evil. Because the police, you're saying, where's the police at? Where's the police? Why don't they arrest them? I know that's a drug kingpin right there. Now you see who's behind it all. The dead-gone politicians. I mean, here we are. I'm pretty stupid. And I'll say, well, I know that's a crack house. Why ain't they taking that down? Well, now you see the cops can't. So who's controlling? The politicians, the governors, the mayors, the big people. So you're seeing God is pulling the cover back and exposing the evil right now in our own very country. He's exposing it right to us. I mean, right here we are as a church. He's opening it up and says, look, see. It was covered up, but thank God I'm going to expose it to you. That's what's taking place here. What's God's reaction to all this? He's grieved. I want you to understand that. He's grieved. I was walking and praying the other day and just felt such whole heaviness come over me. I mean, heaviness. You ever felt so heavy you could barely walk? It just come on me. And he told me, you're feeling my grief. Then I began to understand, because sometimes the things that you feel, now you got to understand right here. You see, this is where I want you to know the difference here. You are part of the body of Jesus Christ. So when he feels grieved, if you're really in touch, you will feel that grief. And when you go into certain areas, that's why you feel it, because he said, they hated me. And you can feel the hate that's towards him. And sometimes you're just walking along and you feel the hate. And you're wondering, did I do something wrong? Did I sin? No, you're the body of Jesus Christ. And the world hates you, and you will feel it. If you can understand what I'm telling you here. One body. And it's so real. It is truth. It's real what I'm telling you. It's real. You feel it. And he's grieved. That's his reaction to this mess, this chaos, this darkness, this energy. I mean, you ever wonder here, when God saw the wickedness of men back in the Bible, he grieved? Grieved him. In Jeremiah, just paraphrasing there, he said, I can't believe you guys would go that far. When Israel, when I'm talking Israel here after Solomon, Israel was the northern 10 tribes. The southern tribe was Judah. So he's talking Israel here who had the truth, and they suppressed it in unrighteousness. They worshiped Baal in every hill. They set up calves in Dan. You know, they separated, they went up there, and in the middle of all that, here comes this prophet Hosea. See, that's why you got to know what's going on in these places. This is not something new. This is what they had done in Hosea. And here comes this prophet Hosea. And God is speaking through Hosea about getting a wife. And this is God through Hosea, through the book of Hosea, saying, I feel like a husband whose wife has left him and become a prostitute on the street. You can feel the tears on the page when you go read the book of Hosea. This is what God is crying over his people. He said, what will I do on Ephraim? He called him Ephraim because that was the major tribe up there. Ephraim And he said, I can't let you go, Ephraim. I can't let you go. I'm coming in there and I'm going to get you. Even though I feel like, so you can go read Hosea, and I mean, through the whole thing, he's like, man, Hosea, go marry this woman because I've got to express how I'm feeling about Israel, my wife. I'm like a husband betrayed. And see, it's only after seeing what I've been talking about these last couple of weeks, only then can you understand, for God so loved the world. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I thought God only loved us. I thought God only loved white people. I thought God only loved American people. I thought God only loved the good people. God came in the middle of that. God so loved the world, and He gave definition to that so loved the world. What was the definition? God gave His only begotten Son. Now what did He do? God gave His only begotten Son. Just remember that. Every one of them you see on TV, every one that the president he tweets out their face. Look, here's a guy tearing down a statue now. FBI get him. Understand, Jesus Christ died for Donald Trump, and Jesus Christ died for the guy who is pulling the statue down. And you know what He says? He says, I'm coming in to get you. I can't leave you that way. And thank God that He says that. I can't leave you that way, America. You're destroying yourself. I can't leave it undone. Too much is going on. I've got to come in. Are y'all with me? You taking all this in? Sometimes God would bring in judgment. He had to. Judgment, like, think about this, like a cancer in a body. We got God set up in heaven. He loves everybody, and you know He loves everything. When a cancer comes in your body, it's got to be cut out. You can't let it go undone. So in Noah's day, you remember what happened in Noah's day? There was only 8 people. And it grieved God. But God said, if I don't step in now, you guys will wipe out the human race. I've got to step in and do a surgery. I've got to step in and do this judgment. So God did, and you see that sometimes He has to step in and do that. When God did that, He brought about a little son, and you guys all know who he is. And his name shall be, when he dies, then will come the judgment. And his name is called Methuselah. Now everybody knows that Methuselah was the longest living guy who ever lived. That's the long suffering of God as seen in the person of Methuselah. He lived 969 years. And when he was born, God says, I'm going to give you guys 1,000 years to turn back to me. 1,000 years to turn back to me. But they wouldn't. So He wiped them out. And then I want you to know this. You guys I want you to just get a hold of this to see what's going on here. You know, Noah had 3 sons. One of those sons' name was Ham. Right? Ham is the guy who saw his daddy naked. And he had a son named Canaan. Hence, Canaan was the guy who started the Tower of Babel. So Canaan now goes in to settle a land called Canaan land. I want you to understand what's going on here. So right here in the middle, we got one of Noah's sons, grandsons, Canaan, living in the land. But here comes Abraham, and he says, Abraham, I'm going to give you that land. Why? Why not another land? You ever wonder, why not another land? Why the land of Canaan? Why this cursed son's people? Why give him that land? Well, I want you to know something here. This is the goodness of God. I don't know how you read the Bible, but I want you to see this. This land of Canaan, which later became Palestine, Israel, was the center of the world. all the trade routes that came, you guys read this in your history book, that came from China and India. It was called the Silk Road. You ever heard of that? Any travel that was going to be going on up into Europe, that was going to be going on down into Africa, all came through Palestine, all came through Canaan land. Anything that was going to Europe from Africa went right through Canaan land. Anything from Africa to Europe went right through Canaan land. So if Canaan is in the middle of this, all the trade routes came through there. Guess what they're doing? They're the fountainhead. And you know what? If you dump sewer in the fountainhead, you're going to pollute the entire daggone stream. Abraham, I'm giving you that land, but not yet. 400 and some years later, I'm giving you that land because the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. In other words, God was giving them 400 and some years to repent and come to Him. Now think about the other side of this. God placed Israel right there where all the major trade routes came. Why? So that they could bring light to the world instead of pollution to the world. Do you get what I'm saying? If you go and read these stories of judgment, it's God having to remove a cancer to save the rest. And He does it, He grieves. He grieves. You get what I'm saying? He grieves. Now, I didn't mean to take so much time today, guys, but I wanted you to see the backdrop, for God so loved the world, and to see this evil that we've been delivered from and where we're at. Now we're going to see how that we fit into all of this as we go on. But I hope I've got your attention. I hope I've woke you up a little bit to everything that we've been done, and we called it laws that have done nothing but rob us. Rob us. You know the way it was in the Bible? I'll just tell you this. The child stayed with the mother up to bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah was the celebration that the child now was going under the tutelage of the father. And whatever age that was, 12, 13, whatever, when he was mature enough, then he went on and learned from his father. So we got the two trainings right here. Well, now we ain't even got two parents. We don't even have two parents, much less any training going on. And as soon as the baby's born, we want to register. We want to put it in preschool as fast as we can to get them out there and get them indoctrinated with the stupid stuff that goes on. So at 3 years old now, 2 years old, let's put them in. Let's put them in. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Let's get them indoctrinated really, really quick. Let's get them away from the mom, because I can guarantee you, nobody will love them babies more than their mommies. Will they? Nobody. And nobody would be better to them and train them better than their dads. Nobody. You see, we give it up. You understand what I'm talking about? And you look and you say, well, it is what it is. This is what we've got. Well, what you're witnessing is a crumbling of what we've got. It's what you're witnessing, a crumbling. But you know what? We'll be here. We will be here. I can guarantee you that.